Marko, we looked at his videos in a while, bro. Yo, sorry about my voice, man. That's tough, bro. But alright, Marko and Joe Rogan.
My name is Anaya Gold. I'm from New York, born and raised, and I'm a publicist.
Guys, I'm just as surprised as you are. Today we're making custom shoes for Joe Rogan. He followed me out of nowhere recently and I asked him if he wanted some shoes. He said yes. I'm gonna spend the next 10 days making him a pair of custom shoes. Then we're gonna fly to Austin and surprise him with them. He's also gonna wear these on stage at the UFC weigh-ins. So that'll be awesome. Enjoy. When I asked him what kind of shoes he wanted, he told me anything low top was good. I honestly felt like this was an opportunity to finally do something besides Air Force One. So I got these Pumas instead. The first thing I did was take apart the shoe as much as possible. I took off the laces, took out the insole, and I also cut off this little label that was on the tongue because I'm planning on remaking that later anyway. I even cut off the actual tongue because it would pretty much be impossible to paint that while it's still inside the shoe. Then I used my acetone for the rest of the shoes to get it ready for paint. Shoes usually come with like a clear factory coat on top of them, and if you don't take that off, the paint literally won't stick to the shoe at all. I really focused on the parts of the shoe that would crease the most, like the front and side where the shoe would crease when you step. I also took off any of the logos and paint that was already on the shoe. Now all the preparation, the boring stuff is done. Now for the fun stuff. I gathered all my materials to start this front part of the shoe that wraps around the whole thing. I feel like this piece kind of sets the tone for the entire shoe, and I pretty much start with this piece on every shoe I do. I'm gonna do art on this section inspired by one of Joe Rogan's favorite books, The Book of Five Rings,
which was a book on strategy.
He talks about this book a lot on his podcast, and he even has a tattoo of the author Miyamoto Musashi on his arm.
That's Miyamoto Musashi on my right arm.
I looked up some pictures of this guy and used those as reference pictures for the sketch I was doing. I taped off the toe box to keep that part white before I started painting. I also feel like it's super important to tuck the tape under the edge of the piece you're working on. It makes the paint job look way cleaner, almost like the whole piece of leather is painted instead of just the surface.
That's why I have this tattoo. That's what it means to me. It's like this idea is that difficult things are tools. They're tools to maximize the way your mind interacts with life.
I'm using the colors I found from the picture of the author, but I mixed them all with white to make them less saturated and a bit lighter, so these shoes will probably match any outfit he wears. He also originally followed me and found my page from a video of me turning fish into shoes. And that shoe was like super brown and neutral, so I feel like if you like those shoes, he's probably gonna want neutral shoes for himself. I painted the samurai sword handle as well as designs from the guy's clothing, and then outlined everything with black accents to make it all look cleaner. I also added the logo from the Book of Five Rings. Once all the black outlines were done, I went in with white and added little accents all over the spots where the black was kind of thick, just to brighten it up a little bit and make it look more 3D. Okay, the first panel of the shoe is all done. This is actually gonna be the most colorful panel of the whole shoe. Next panel, we're gonna do this panel on the side, this main side piece right here. Obviously, Joe Rogan loves bears.
It's a cool ass animal.
Yeah.
Did you see the grizzly bear I posted on my Instagram today?
Neat.
A grizzly bear looks like this, can I? It was like twice the size of a polar bear. Oh boy. Oh boy.
So this next part of the shoe, I'm gonna do like a bear theme. When I was taping off this part that was touching the art I just did, I actually used the sticky side of the tape facing out, so there was like no chance of pulling off any of the art I did. I just stuck it to like the inner lip of this piece I was about to paint. There's also a couple stitchings that were loose and hairs that were poking off, but I just used a lighter and burnt those off so they wouldn't be noticeable. Also, I know, everyone knows bears are brown, but I honestly didn't think making this piece brown would match what I had planned for the rest of the shoe. So it's still like a bear fur pattern, I just did it in a black and white colorway. Now it's time to pull out the things I was most excited for. I ordered this elk skin literally the same week that I talked to him about making him shoes. Joe Rogan loves hunting. He also loves hunting elk. The outside of the elk skin was like normal leather and the inside was like a soft suede. It was also honestly the most stretchy leather I've ever used. And the next piece of the shoe we're gonna do is this piece right here. For this piece of the shoe, I'm using a piece of tape and my fingernail to trace out exactly the shape I need to cut out. So when I put it on the elk skin and cut that out, it would fit perfectly on the shoe. Before I glued it down, I cut off the edge of the material that was already on the shoe, just so when I put the elk skin on, it wouldn't look like two layers of leather. You would only see the edge of the elk skin. I also kind of shaved off the edge of the bottom piece to where I tucked it under this little flap that I'd already painted. It'd be a lot thinner and it kind of smoothly transitioned into the other piece in the front, and this little gap would be covered up by the laces anyway. Before I glued down this edge and sewed it, I wanted to paint this back piece of the shoe so I could get my paintbrush under that elk skin and I wouldn't get any paint on it. I'm just doing a lighter pink to match Joe Rogan's bald ass head. Again, I'm making sure these edges are perfectly covered so you can't even tell it was painted. All right, it's getting late. I got here early in the morning. This is what I have done so far. I'm gonna go home now and work out some other things. I think this is good progress for one day. I also have some exciting materials I'm gonna add to the shoe later. I'll see you guys in the morning. All right, good morning. Check out what I got in the mail. This is mushroom coffee. This is apparently Joe Rogan's favorite coffee. I'm gonna dye the tongue of the shoe with this stuff. So then the inside also kind of smells like coffee. I feel like that'd be cool. Pretty much, I'm gonna take this coffee, put it in a pot, boil it, and then take the tongue of the shoe and just put it in the hot boiling water. I'm so stupid. I just put this thing on top of the hot burner. It literally melted and stuck to the burner. I packed that up and took it to the warehouse. It's been like an hour. That actually looks good. Since the laces are gonna be white, I always like to have the tongue like a different color so the laces kind of pop off more. If the tongue's white and the laces are white, it kind of like blends in. I don't know, I don't like the way that looks. While that's drying outside, I'm gonna spend the next few hours on my iPad drawing out a design that's gonna go inside of the shoe. So it won't be super noticeable, but once you look inside, you'll really see that coming out. I'm pretty much making a drawing of things I know he likes, like aliens, pyramids. I feel like those small details are what makes the shoe awesome. Like not necessarily what you can see on the shoe, but just what goes into the shoe. Once I had that artwork made, I plugged in my stencil machine and cut out the stencil. And while that was cutting, the tongue's probably dry. We can start on that now. Also, look at the color. It looks really nice. It's like a light brown. I want to paint like an Egyptian pharaoh on the tongue, like a sketch of it. He has a tattoo on his arm. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So I'm going to paint that on this tongue, like a sketch of it, with this brown. So it's like 2 colors of brown on the tongue. I just realized this looks horrible. I don't know what. Oh my God, that thing's terrifying. I'm going to redo it. Way better. There was a tab on the front over here earlier, this piece right there, and I took that off, so I'm gonna remake one. Instead of using the inside suede soft part, I'm gonna use the outside leather. I'm gonna cut it out. Now, I'm gonna paint this white, but usually when you're painting leather, you need to acetone it before you put it. That's what I did with the shoe. I acetone the shoe so the paint actually sticks. With this piece, I'm not gonna acetone it. You'll see why. I also made this stencil that says JRE, and then under it's like my signature, because obviously I made the shoes. I'm gonna put this stencil right on the tongue. I'm gonna heat gun the vinyl so it suctions to the fabric, and then I'm gonna spray it black. Okay, now you're gonna see why I didn't acetone the leather. Look, watch what's gonna happen. See how it's peeling that paint off? So now there's kind of like a white and brown back and forth on the leather. Now I'm gonna touch up this black paint and then add a border around the edge of this whole thing. Then I can put it back on the shoe. Now we can work on this insole. The stencil I printed out from the thing I drew is done. I'm gonna start by taking this logo off. It's kind of like paint on there. I'm gonna use acetone and dissolve that off so it won't be seen when I paint over it. I also mixed up this light brown yellowish color that I added water and fabric softener to, so the insole would absorb all the color but stay soft when it's dry. I didn't want it to be able to feel it. Fabric softener mixture also has to be heat set so it stays permanent. I covered the entire thing with the stencils once it was dry, and I sprayed over that with a light fade of darker brown. Then I dried that and peeled off all the stencils. Also, so many of you guys assume the paint is gonna rub off on your socks when you start wearing the shoe, but it doesn't. I like to add soap and water and wash the whole thing in the sink. That's gonna take off any of the powdered paint that might have dried in the air before it actually landed into the fabric. While that was drying, I got this super thin piece of vegan leather and another stencil, but of a QR code that I printed out. This stencil wasn't also like the other ones that were stick-on. This is actually an iron-on stencil that melts into the fabric when you heat it up. All right, now I'm gonna put the tongue back on the shoe. Also, let me see your phone. You have?
Hi, we're Visible, the wireless company with nothing to hide. Get unlimited 5G data powered by Verizon for $25 a month, every month. Sorry, hidden fees, we're just not into you. Sometimes the choice is just visible. Switch today at visible.com.
I know how this looks. But this taco night, it's gonna be great. With McCormick by your side for over 130 years, it's gonna be great.
This is the QR code inside the tongue. Boom, right to my channel, boy. Takes you right to the channel, and then the banner is gonna be this video. So when he scans it, it'll just pop him right up to this video. So now I'm gonna put this tongue back into the shoe. I'm gonna sew these holes back. I'm just gonna follow those holes, put the tongue back on. Anyway, now for this back tab on the shoe, I painted it with the same red I used on the front earlier, and then I mixed that with the salmon color I used on the side to balance out the whole shoe. Now for this smaller piece underneath it, I wanted to incorporate something archery, because we all know Joe Rogan loves archery hunting. I actually signed up for an archery class just so I could go shoot a couple arrows and use that paper from the target on the shoes. Oh,
You shot an arrow, dude. Fun as hell.
wow, that's it? Nice. I feel like that'd be way cooler than just painting something to look like it. My pit smells so bad. Bro, this is disgusting. I hope she doesn't smell them. Sorry if I smell bad, by the way. I don't know if you caught a whiff.
I wasn't in your armpit, man.
Okay, good. All right, this is my work for today. I need to put this on the shoe somehow. I found this old canvas at the warehouse and I cut out a small piece of it and I covered that with photo transfer Mod Podge. Then I put a piece of that archery paper face down against that and left it to sit in the sun while I sewed on that elk skin from earlier. I also punched in the lace holes just following the ones that were already there. When the canvas was dry, I used a wet rag and rubbed off the top layer of paper, leaving behind only the ink on the canvas. I cut it out and glued it on top of that back tab and tucked the edges of it under the original piece of leather, and then I threw it on the sewing machine and locked it into place. I'm almost done. It's time to finally take off this blue tape. This is gonna be very satisfying, watch. Once I got all the tape off, and yes, you're welcome, I know that was nice to watch, I put the insole back into the shoe, laced them up with the original laces, and now I need to build a box for these shoes. Also, thank you Air Up for sponsoring this video. Okay, let's build this box. I got this piece of wood here. I'm gonna use a shoe box and I'm gonna trace out the right shape on the wood so I can cut it out. This water bottle is actually crazy. It flavors your water just through scent. So you smell it while you're drinking it and it actually tastes really good. Every time I'm working on a project like this, I honestly forget to drink water all the time. Oh yes, this is gonna look good. It has this flavor pot on top. You push down and then it's just normal water. Pop it up. Orange cream is probably my favorite one, but now this is all glued up. He's gonna open the box.
If he opened the box and saw that, he'd be so disappointed.
Oh yeah. I've honestly seen so many people using these and I honestly just wanted to try it for myself. Once I did try it, I fell in love. Also guys, if you want to get your own Air Up water bottle, first link in description, use code Marko, all caps, at checkout, 15% off. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring the video. I actually sanded the box after it was already painted to give it like a rustic vintage look. And I already know what you're thinking, this thing actually looks disgusting. But I decided to cover it with a bunch of stencils that I made on the iPad again, with even more things I thought he would like that I couldn't fit on the shoe. Sprayed that all black and white, and then packed up to head to Texas for the big delivery. All right guys, we made it to Texas. We're here. Custom box, all done wooden. A bunch of stencils of things he likes, black and white. His logo right here in the center. Check out the shoes now. This is the experience, the Joe Rogan experience of him opening the box. Ready? You got the shoes.
Oh, snap.
Right here. These are the shoes. I'm excited. I'm literally so excited. Like, I think this is one of the most detailed pair of shoes I've ever made. I spent the last 9 days making these. I think that's it.
Let's go.
All right, cool. Hey, you ready? Yes. Okay. I'm ready. This is in the bag. Okay. There you go. The box I made for the shoes in there.
How's it open?
Pop the leather straps up. Open it up.
Dude, these are so cool.
See this right here? Paint. This is a Miyamoto Musashi like style art. It's like a canvas stuff, like a samurai sword.
Oh wow!
I got that book, and then this here, elk skin leather, and like this is the suede from it.
That's amazing.
And this is supposed to be like a pattern from like a bear, like bear fur. And then back here, look at this. See this piece here?
Yeah.
This is the paper from like an archery, and then use the paper and like put it here, like from the bows I shot.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And then inside on the insole, there's like a bunch of art and stuff.
That's so cool.
Aliens, pyramids.
Dude, I'm
stuff.
gonna wear these at the UFC weigh-ins today.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see.
I'm pumped. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
man.
of course.
Thank you. These
Thank
are so
you. I
cool.
appreciate it. Thanks for having us last night. I've been a fan of the podcast for a while, so.
And what tomorrow night means to you.
Joe Rogan at the weigh-ins. He's wearing the shoes at the weigh-ins. Let's go. That's so awesome.
Subscribe to Marko. He is so sexy and amazing.
That might be like the most like detailed shoe he's ever freaking made, bro. That was crazy.